Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Get in the Garage.
We're a music podcast
for music lovers.
I'm your host, Mike. Here with me, as always, we have Luke and Mr. Jeff, Alex, behind the camera, behind the scenes.
Hello.
The voice in the sky. Welcome, welcome. We got a great show planned today, but before we get into it, as we always do, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the podcast with all your family and your friends. And the listener of the week this week, Luke?
The listener of the week is somebody that owns a cat. It's cat lovers this
Oh,
week.
it's cat
Does
lovers
one ever
week.
own a cat?
No,
cat owns you.
the cat owns you.
So,
No, you're just an idiot who feeds a cat.
Yeah, right.
It's cats this week. You have a cat. Tell someone that has a cat.
Yeah.
Felines love our podcast.
Felines of our podcast, yes. Yes, like I said, we've got a great show planned. Luke, back to you again. What are we talking about this week?
Here we go. I will tell you, on the podcast this week, we have music news. Like always, stay informed. And then we are going to discuss the 50th anniversary of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. And then we are going to cover 2012, the musical year that was. We are going to go through it. We are going to tell you our favorite albums. And I am going to give you my infamous rundown of what the year was that year. And then in the final segment, we have the Gorillaz' new album. This album is called Cracker Island. We are going to review it. We are going to tell you about it. And then we are going to tell you some of our favorite bands that are named after animals, seeing that Gorillaz is the infamous animal-named band that is fake but real. We are going to tell you some great animal band names. So stick around. This is the show. This is Get in the Garage. Alex plays theme song.
Yeah, here. We're fine.
Somebody roll up the garage door. Here we go.
I really want to make this out, but I know I don't have to.
I know you really don't.
As a master impressionist. I like that.
Impressed. This is music news. Wow, music news. What do you got, Mike?
Well, Foo Fighters announced a spring 2023 leg of concerts. Taylor Hawkins, who, untimely death happened last year. Things kind of were up in the air whether or not, are Foo Fighters getting back together? Are they not? They had a couple, I think it was a couple, right, of Taylor Hawkins tribute concerts plural. And it looks like they're gonna go for it. They got festival slots at Boston Calling.
Who is
Bonnaroo? Let me see here. Oh, that doesn't say.
Does
At least
not
in
say.
this article, it doesn't say. But they do have dates: Guilford, New Hampshire; Boston, Massachusetts; Columbus, Ohio. Then they're going to Germany for two shows.
When's the first date on there?
It will be May 24th. Kicks off their sort of
May,
mini tour.
we will know.
We will know.
My guess
is
Josh Freese, who is the main drummer of those tribute concerts.
Yeah.
Longtime session player, played with Nine Inch Nails, played with Perfect Circle.
Interesting.
We will see.
Maybe it'll be John Theodore, the current drummer for what's that band Josh Homie's in?
Oh, Queens of Stone Age.
Queens of Stone Age.
Yeah.
Many great options.
Because they're all kind of like part of the same
Same similar age range and
crew.
stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that should be interesting. Cool. I mean, there's, people talk about when band members pass away and whether or not the bands should go on or they shouldn't go on. Whether in regards to like the members' memories and stuff like that. I say, the show must go on.
Carry forth.
And Taylor Hawkins, I feel like is the type of person that would want the Foo Fighters to continue. So
I agree. I also have some concert news while we are on concert news. Justin Bieber has canceled the remaining dates of his Justice World Tour.
Justice Beaver.
Yes, that
My
was
favorite Beaver.
very much so. He canceled his dates. He kind of left people in limbo earlier this week when he was postponed his dates. People didn't know if they were going to get their money back or not, if these dates were going to be rescheduled. They have not been rescheduled. They have been canceled. All concerts in the U.S., Ireland, France, Poland, Australia, you get the picture of this world tour, have been canceled. He originally canceled earlier when he had some kind of face paralyzing thing go on.
Ramsey Hunt syndrome.
Yes, that is what that is called, and he had to cancel some dates. He continued last July on this tour, and then promptly said he was not going to tour anymore after that. So hopefully Justin Bieber is okay, and I am all for artists not touring if they don't want to tour. Your mental health is much better than anything else in your physical health and all that good stuff. So, Justin Bieber canceled.
It's also his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Justin!
Happy birthday, Justin Bieber. He's building a dam.
Yes. Also, Blink-182 have postponed some tour dates because Travis Barker got an operation on his ring finger. And Tom DeLonge let us know about this from Twitter instead
Thanks,
of Travis
Tom.
Barker. But maybe he was recovering from his finger surgery.
He couldn't type it because his finger's messed up.
There you go. But this was in a live video. But either way, the Latin America tour dates have been moved to 2024 of next year. So that is your concert postponed news.
Very nice. Recently, maybe today, I think it was announced, The Weeknd became the first artist to hit 100 million monthly Spotify listeners.
Wow. Congratulations to
The
The
Weeknd, who also has the record for the most streamed song in Spotify history, which is the song Blinding Lights. 3,439,000,000 streams of that song.
Wow.
Holy shit.
That's impressive.
I think it's one of two songs that has cracked the 3 billion mark. The other is Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, I believe.
Wow.
Wow. This is crazy
100
news.
million monthly listeners.
That's very fascinating.
Wow.
Wow.
Very cool.
Good for The Weeknd.
Yeah.
Go Weekend.
Go Weeknd. I was kind of limited on my music news. The other thing, it's kind of piggybacking off of like show and tour news and stuff like that. Kiss have officially announced their last shows ever, final shows ever. Yes, thank you. Taps for the Kiss Army. We lost a lot of good men out there. The shows will be December 1st and 2nd.
We partied so hard.
We partied so hard. We lost a lot of good men out there. Yeah. December 1st and 2nd, the Madison Square Garden gig.
December?
December.
Oh my
Yeah, well, because the pandemic and everything that happened pushed a bunch of show dates back, as we know, because we went to go see Kiss, and we were supposed to see them a couple months before we actually went to go see them.
We didn't get
That was a mudslide.
Yeah, we didn't get COVID postponed.
Yeah.
We got hurricane postponed.
Oh, did we get hurricane postponed?
A hurricane hit.
It was a
It's
hurricane of COVID.
Oh, all right.
in the
I
air.
understand
There
now.
also was
I
COVID
can't remember anything
at the
for
time.
the last couple
Oh, you
years.
have long
I'm
COVID.
like,
That's why.
Long hauler over here.
Long COVID. Just call me Dave Navarro. Jesus Christ. We hope you're doing well, Dave Navarro. December 1st and 2nd, anyway. That's when it's happening. Will it be the end of Kiss as we know it? Who knows?
I hope so.
Listen, the thing is that they said this is their last tour. That doesn't necessarily mean it's their last show ever, because they could, do a
could
one-off. They could do a festival. They could do,
Would you go see a Kiss show if they got famous rock stars that were younger to go and dress up in the Kiss makeup?
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
That's what
But
I'm
I don't
saying.
want to see these 70-year-old
No, I don't want to see
bag
these
of bones.
70-year-olds either.
I don't know. I would imagine that they would do something kind of like, maybe a Vegas residency where they have like people rotating in.
I
and
would
stuff
like that if it was like the Ringo Starr's All-Star Band, where he has like every if you have 2 hits, you come in, you play your 2 hits, but like instead of that, it's like famous people like that, but it's Kiss, and like you go in, it's like a famous drummer, like Jason Bonham or something, and like Dave Grohl is like Paul Stanley for a night. Or like a month.
Yeah, that'd be
things
fun.
like that.
Yeah, I think of a Vegas residency that they like executive produce. They have a current aged band play the stuff. They make it a huge pyrotechnic, whatever, Vegas spectacle. And it's just like Kiss presents whatever.
Kiss.
Yeah, but like, but they shouldn't be up there going like dun 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 dun.
Agree.
dun, dun, dun.
Agree.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So there you have it. Kiss is at the end. Who knows? We'll
Farewell at the Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden.
Smell you later.
By the time you see this episode, it will have already happened, but March 3rd, this Friday, is De La Soul Day. The De La Soul discography is being released in its entirety. First time ever available on all streaming services. So buy the vinyl because they make more money off of it. Buy tapes, buy CDs of it, stream it 1 billion times so that they can get 1/100th of a penny every time you stream it. But for the first time ever, they have cleared the thousands of samples that are on all their records, and that's the big reason why it was never available before.
Is this a limited thing where it'll only be available on streaming for a limited amount?
In the words of Squints, forever.
Nice. All right, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Good for them, man. Very, very
cool.
good. Luca, do you have any more music news?
I'm out of music news. That's all I have.
You're out. I have one more thing.
Oh, hit us with it.
But it'll bridge us into the Pink Floyd segment. So I don't know if you have anything left.
I do not.
All right. Well, as it turns out, Roger Waters is back in the news.
Oh, thank you.
Surprise, surprise.
So happy.
Boo to you, Roger Waters. It looks like things are finally happening, though. It looks like hopefully people are starting to cancel the old crazy man. And so there was a Frankfurt concert that was canceled. German officials cite anti-Semitism. This is not a new thing for Roger Waters. He's been in and out of the news lately because of his views on Israel and his views on pretty much everything, all geopolitics.
Geopolitics abroad.
Yeah, abroad, all over the place.
We've been disdainly covering it for a while.
We have been, yes, but I figured since we're talking about Pink Floyd tonight that, we would also just shout this out and say that, Roger Waters, I hope more of your shows get canceled because we don't like you. So... There you have it.
We love Pink Floyd, though.
I love Pink Floyd. I'm a David Gilmour guy. Don't get me wrong. Richard Wright all day. Nick Mason all day. But Roger Waters, it's just kind of like, hey, man,
We have lines in the sand. We have camps.
Yeah, absolutely we do.
We love your art, though.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Some of it. Anyway.
Yes.
Some of it.
Not that solo project garbage.
That hitchhiking album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. Anyway.
We're
going to talk about a great album.
Segueing on today, March 1st, is the 50th anniversary of Pink Floyd's seminal The Dark Side of the Moon. Some fun facts about this album. This album has spent 972 weeks on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. 972 weeks is 18 years and 36 weeks on the charts. Number 2 on that chart is Bob Marley's Legend, who has been on the chart for about 4 years total less. So you can see how big that achievement is. It is stipulations, because album sales across the world aren't really kept track of that cleanly, but they are either the third, fourth, or fifth. It's either the third, fourth, or fifth best-selling album of all time. I think it's on the short list of albums that every 16-year-old boy will listen to for the rest of time. It's on that list of 5. Dorm room posters, T-shirts sold, things like that, and for good reason, in my opinion, because I don't go to this album very often. I probably listen to it once a year, but it is still easily a top 20 album for me. And if I think long and hard and make my real list, it probably is closer to 10 or so, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
I think this album is the classic 10, like I say all the time on this podcast. If it's the 10 for me, it's got to be comparable to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. It is a groundbreaking record, I think. It is a song suite in a lot of ways, plays all the way through in one piece if you play it like that. Again, we were talking earlier, Jeff said, very funky and a very prog-based record. A lot of soulfulness in it, R&B influence. It's melds a lot of classic things and brings it together in something that's very palatable and to listen to, but also very experimental and mind-altering in some ways, I think, in a lot, even in modern context.
Yeah, I would say so. This for me is, this is where I kind of really, this is where I fell in love with David Gilmour as a guitar player. I remember listening to Breathe and hearing that first, it washes over you, and as a guitar player, you think, what the hell is that, and it was really the beginning of sort of a deep dive into me, even as a guitar player, into guitar pedals and stuff too, Claire Torrey's performance on The Great Gig in the Sky, absolutely incredible. Another couple fun facts about this record. This was kind of the launch pad for Alan Parsons.
Absolutely.
Engineer of this?
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, some profits from this album went to go help to make Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail, which is something interesting. I thought George Harrison was the only one who was
later
who was giving lots of money to the Flying Circus, but
they would stop recording to go watch them shoot film and stuff, which is very funny. But were saying the guitar playing in this album, and Alan Parsons, he created a lot of the soundscapey things that you were hearing on this. A lot of like ideas that were brought into life in the studio were brought forth with the assistance of Alan Parsons, which I think is you can't really like leave this album out, I think, without really talking about him. He was in Get Back. If you watched the Get Back movie, he was the engineer on that record, and I think birthed a lot of new technical, like the panning of the synths going around the room, in Us and Them, things like that. He was also responsible for bringing in the female backup singers and the backup singer on Great Gig in the Sky, which is Clarence. Yep, and he brought all that forth in this album. So I think it's very important that his legacy as an engineer and artist, on this as well, be mentioned.
Yeah, I think this is the first album I ever got seriously into. Because I owned a few CDs of my own, for Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that. But this was the first one that I would sit for hours listening to on repeat with my little portable CD player and headphones on my bed. Probably the Christmas before I turned 14, maybe like my freshman year of high school. I think this is Nick Mason's strongest or most interesting or best drum performance, because it's driving and it's funky and it's kind of light, but it's very involved and very melodic. Lots of very memorable fills. I think David Gilmour's guitar playing, especially on this album, is like something that people are still chasing to this day. I think that Roger Waters, for who he is now, like the lyrics are amazing on this album. The messaging, which he wrote all the lyrics for, I think his bass playing is great on this. I think David Gilmour's singing, like I always have loved his singing much more than Roger Waters' singing. And it's because of this album. David Gilmour singing on this album is like some of my favorite rock singing ever. And Richard Wright, kind of the unsung hero of Pink Floyd, because he plays so many different textural keyboards, Hammond organ, the like AC V30 or whatever the weird synth was on this, electric piano, grand piano. I think it just has incredible songs, some standouts, Time, Us and Them, Money. They're classics for a reason. Like, this is pinnacle. And I used to think of this album as being dated, but when I would think like it's a dated sound, my mind would be like, yeah, man, because like all that late 60s stuff, it just sounds like this. And it's like, this was mid 70s. This wasn't. So the datedness is not real. It's the dated of like how science fiction movies are dated, where it's like past and futuristic and a little like present, and talk about the social issues, and especially in England at the day for the lyrics. This is tops. This is a great album.
Yeah, I was into this when I was like later, 17, 18.
Yeah, that's about where I got into it, yeah.
I think like the nature of the lyrics, like you were saying, like the working class, this is your life, this is like birth and death and struggle, and the nature of the questions that are being asked is, I think, a lot of like why people connect to this record. It's very like a very human record. It's about humanity as a subject, and I think on that level it's about working class humanity, people that work and things of that, like blue collar kind of people, and it's interesting. That's why I think it connects so well, and I think it connects with people at a certain age when they're like, oh, this is life, and it kind of helps to breathe into those ideas and thoughts. And like I said earlier, even like Great Gig in the Sky, like having the quote, the profound quote of not being afraid of dying, and and then you're like, oh, okay, and then someone sings this crazy, like beautiful, chaotic, and then back to beautiful vocal melody that has no words, and you go, it makes you ponder your place in the world a little bit, and it has that ethereal nature that I think really is the pushing point of why it's such a staying classic record.
Yeah, I think it's really effective in the way that even like when you listen to On the Run, that's the synthesizer that Jeff was, which was inspired by Richard Wright's Fear of Flying. That's the idea behind it, which is why you hear like there's kind of like crashing and you hear the Doppler effect thing and all this crazy stuff going on. And then going into Time, which is literally just listening to clocks going off for
like a minute and a half.
Yeah, for a minute and a half, and then it goes into this long like boom.
That was my alarm clock on my phone for a long time.
But it's you have to be in certain parts of this album you kind of have to be a patient listener, and I would say that this record definitely taught me how to listen to an album, because if you I think I can speak for both of these guys here in the way that saying, like, every time I listen to this record, I always listen to it in its entirety. I never really just bloop, bloop. I never do that. I never do that kind of thing. If there's one song that I do that with, or two maybe, time and maybe money. But even then, if I'm going to skip a song, I'm going to skip money. But I usually don't anyway, just because it's like, I put this on, man, and it's 42 minutes long.
I was just about to guess. I was about to say, it's probably 42 minutes long.
Yeah, it's 42 minutes and 50 seconds long. And it just plays perfect. It's a perfect album. I mean, there's so few albums that I would be like, this is a perfect album. This is a perfect album.
Because I think, too, when you play a song on here, the payoff ends up being what the next song is.
Yeah, right.
And so it's
chapters in a story.
Yes, it has this great pacing.
And even in the end, like at the end of the
if I'm picking Nits, On the Run is my least favorite on there, only because I feel like it's a bit slow up front in the record. But that is my only pick of Nits on this record. I love it otherwise, and I still love that song.
This is a straight up, like, we give number rankings. This is, without question, this is a 10 plus. This is a 10.
Yeah.
This is
the classic.
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah, one of the undisputed heavyweight champions.
Happy 50th anniversary to
Yes.
The Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to listen to it again later tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to blow our minds all over again.
Every time. All right, cool. So let's move on.
We are going to cover the
My
musical
favorite
year
segment.
that was 2012. We are going to get into it, and I have a list for you. Okay, so 2012 was the year we all thought the world was going to end.
Oh, did it, though?
It did not.
Open up your third eye.
We're living in the Matrix ever since. According to the Mayan calendar, we were all going to die. It didn't happen. But now 2012 is just a year that we used to know. Okay, here we go.
Wow, this guy.
You like this over here?
This guy. Foreshadowing.
Oh, so good. All right, so these are not in any particular order. These are just great musical things that happened that year. In 2012, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg played Coachella, and they revealed the
hologram of Tupac.
That was that year.
Hologram.
I remember that. It blew over his mind, man.
Groundbreaking.
What?
Everybody was like, are there going to be hologram concerts? What's happening next?
Kiss. That's where they should go.
That's where they should go. But that hologram company went promptly out of business in the same year.
They blew their whole budget on Tupac.
I just would like to note, we just did a 50th anniversary. All the old 60s bands had their 50th anniversaries that year.
Sure.
We had the Beatles, the Stones, the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys had that really angry tour where they broke up, and Mike Love went back to playing the State Fair, which was very funny.
Where he belongs.
Where he belongs. Also, I would like to note 2012 was the year that the band Pussy Riot came to the Americans' attention.
Band,
The Russian band that has something against Vladimir Putin. A lot of people do in this day and age.
Yeah.
That was the year that they came into the headlines with their art rock that was, demonstrative.
They wore knitted hats with their eyes cut out.
Yes, and they were causing drama. That was the year that we all knew them, but nobody knew what kind of music they made, but we all knew who they were. Taylor Swift grabbed her first Hot 100 #1 with Never Ever Getting Back Together. So that was a big deal, and her album Red also went to #1. Also of note, One Direction had a giant year that year, and they had 2 albums hit #1 on the Billboard album charts, which is a huge feat. And also one of them debuted at #1, which is the first time a English band debuted at #1 with their first record in America. So that was cool. Frank Ocean released his album Channel Orange and changed the rap and R&B world as a whole. He also wrote a letter where he stated that he fell in love with a man. It changed a lot of opinions in the hip-hop culture, so I thought that was worth throwing in because we're still going through that these revelations today. Call Me Maybe, the song by Carly Rae Jepsen, exploded from YouTube, which was some of the first times this was happening. Justin Bieber championed the song in a tweet. Go Justin. And this song blew up there afterwards and was championed by many artists, made it into a crossover radio hit. We have another example of that happening that year, which was Psy, who broke in with Gangnam Style, the K-pop
that was
classic.
2012?
That was 2012. That was that took up took over the most played video on YouTube of all time, which was originally Justin Bieber's Baby, then was Psy's Gangnam Style after that. So it brought K-pop into the world. This was America's first taste of K-pop ever, and it was a huge taste of it. That song was giant. And I would also like to point out that Adele was still riding high off her 2011 album, 21, and was just completely blowing up the charts. Everyone was obsessed with Adele. It's just of mention. Would you guys like the Billboard Top 10 songs of 2012?
Please,
Count it from 10 to 1?
From 10 to 1,
Sure.
Here we go. What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction.
Great
at
song.
10. Starships, Nicki Minaj.
Oh, yep.
We Found Love, Rihanna, Calvin Harris, big hit. Stronger by Kelly Clarkson, which I did not realize 2012 was still on the charts. Glad You Came, The Wanted. I don't know this song.
Oh, yeah, that was like a summer boy bandies. Yeah.
Lights by Ellie Goulding. Do you know this song?
A good one.
Okay. Payphone by Maroon 5 featuring Wiz Khalifa. Are You Young? Fun featuring Janelle Monáe. Call Me Maybe, number 2.
Okay.
Carly Rae. What's number 1?
Somebody I Used to Know.
That's correct.
Record of the Year at the Grammys next year.
Yep, by Goyette, and We Never Knew Him Again.
And
Gautier.
Featuring...
Kimbra.
Kimbra, that's who it is.
What?
New Zealand, I believe.
That song came in so hot, changed everyone's opinions about what music was at the time, and then completely disappeared.
Overplayed to death. Go to listen to it. Excellent song.
Oh, it's
excellent.
Yeah,
song.
it's a great song.
The way the duet builds, the instrumentation with the xylophone and stuff.
And I remember too
song.
that
great music video too.
If you want to talk about like YouTube and stuff like that, that was a song that everybody was doing on YouTube.
I was just gonna say that song.
Like challenges,
That song almost spawned YouTube music culture as a whole. Like the
you get that one where it's like a guitar. There's a guitar. And there's like 5 people, and they're all like doing the thing around the guitar.
Walk Off the Earth. Yeah.
Would you guys like the top selling albums?
Yes, I would.
Okay, here we go. I believe this is everything across the board. So we're into streaming at this time. This is streaming, sales, everything. We have 21 by Adele. 2, Red by Taylor Swift. 3 is Up All Night by One Direction. At number 4, we have Believe by Justin Bieber. 5 is Some Nights by Fun. 6 is Overexposed by Maroon 5. 7 was Pink's Friday.
Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I read it backwards. I'm thinking like it's the artist pick. I'm sorry. Pink Friday by Nicki Minaj. Babel by Mumford & Sons is at 8.
Album of the Year the next year at the Grammys.
There you go. 9 is Tailgates and Tan Lines by Luke Bryan, the country singer.
Okay.
And 10 is Take Me Home by One Direction.
Wow.
So,
crazy year.
2 One Direction albums in the top 10, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Which is millions upon millions of album sales in digital downloads. I would also like to point out, before we get into our favorite albums, 2012 was the last year that streaming sales were the highest music sales. After this year, music downloading sales. I'm sorry, did I say streaming sales? I'm sorry.
iTunes type thing, digital, whatever.
Digital download sales were at its top peak in 2012 and were beating physical sales. After 2012, digital downloads are no longer the number one album sale.
Sure.
And it's then streaming. So we move to streaming the next year over, and that becomes the number one profit instead of musical single song and album downloads.
Hey, 2013 was the last time I bought a CD, so it makes sense.
Yes.
And I believe I got my Spotify account in 2012.
Right? Okay.
I was, not to who gives a shit, but I think I was the first person of like people I knew had Spotify. Because I was just like, yo, man, $10, I can listen to anything I ever want to.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to cross over into the streaming age. My music got fractured for a long time, and like a weird, I listened to a lot of physical stuff and CDs and like iPods still. I think I was still iPod classicing in 2012.
Luke's just holding up. He's plugging his
Monte Carlo years, right?
He's plugging his headphones straight into the bottom of a cassette. He's like, why can't I hear it?
Yeah. I was
still
listening to music on an iPod Classic in 2012.
Yeah,
now
when you
I
broke
think
that
of
out
it.
a couple weeks ago, I laughed so
Yeah, because
hard.
all my 2012 music is on there now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There you have it.
very strange times.
There you have it. All right. Well, let's talk about our favorite albums. There's a lot of really good albums that were released that year to choose from.
Can we throw to our man Alex? Alex, do you have an opinion? Any
to start with?
2012?
Do you have like a 2012
man.
favorite
Yeah.
album?
So this was in like a time frame that like I was really like listening to music.
How old were you in 2012?
14.
Oh, that's prime.
So yeah, I mean like I don't recall a lot of what I was listening to back then was like electronic music.
Mhm.
So looking back into the year, and kind of thinking like what was my favorite 2012 album of that time was Mac DeMarco 2.
Oh, sure.
Which is a really good album. It's like, yeah, it's him doing the sign they're doing right now, which has a couple of my favorite Mac DeMarco songs on it, being My Kind of Woman and Freaking Out the Neighborhood. Just kind of classic Mac DeMarco songs that I really enjoyed, and that was my favorite album.
Yeah.
I went back and listened to that record after we covered the. I can't say his. I'm not gonna mess up his name because I'm messing
Just
it up.
call him MD.
MD. I listened to that record after we covered that hot dog
Hot Dog
record.
album.
5 Easy Hot Dogs.
5 Easy Hot
Chocolate
Dogs.
Starfish. Oh, sorry.
Yes, and I liked that record. I avoided that record for a long time when it came out, especially, and because I was like, I don't know if I like this, but
Yeah.
I liked that record. It was really cool, man. So, right on.
He was like the hottest thing on the underground music internet
Yeah.
in 2012.
Oh yeah. Ripe for the hit and listen.
Inspired a whole
Yeah, it was.
generation of hipsters.
Yeah, because like in 2014, I listened to Salad Days when that album came
Right.
out,
Yeah.
and then that kind of turned me back onto him
Mhm.
for 2012 stuff, and
Mhm.
you know that was really my first intro into him. So
Right on, man.
Cool.
My 2012 choices. An honorable mention: Fiona Apple's "The Idler Wheel." ... Long poetic thing. It's really Fiona Apple going off musically off the rails into more raw, like coarse type of sound. The album I thought was gonna be my pick is not my pick. It's an excellent album, and that's Frank Ocean's "Channel Orange." It's an album I love dearly. Features probably my favorite song of maybe the 2010s, which is Pyramids. But the only album from 2012 that I think is more than an album, it's like a artistic statement on a different level. It's like a musical movie, is Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I saw Kendrick Lamar, I think in support of this album. The concert probably was in 2013. Saw him live. He performed with like literally no backing track except for choruses, which I had never seen a hip hop artist do. This album is just like, it's a masterwork, and it's not technically his first album, but like to the large majority of people, it's like his big debut statement to the larger world. And it's you can listen to it front to back, which I highly recommend. You can listen to it in chronological order. You can look up the track listing based on like all the little interstitial skits of like what happens during that one day that the album follows, which is really cool listening experience. I'll send you like the track list for that. Yeah, it's just best. It's just the best thing in 2012 in my opinion, and it still holds up. It features some of my favorite songs: "Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst," "Real," "Money Trees," "Swimming Pools." Like it's just it's an excellent album.
Yeah, mine is the same album. I just couldn't. I looked up the list of albums that came out that year, and it's like, I remember when this came out. It was, I where I was working at the time. One of my coworkers, my buddy Ryan. Shout out Ryan if you're listening. He was like, "Yo, you've got it. You have to listen to this record," and he picked it up. And I remember we literally just listened to it over and
CD?
over and over again. He bought it. Went to FYE at the Crystal Mall and in Waterford and bought the
Did
CD.
you have the deluxe?
Oh, of course we had the
with
deluxe
the van
with
on
the van.
cover?
Yeah. Yep, that's the one we had. And yeah, same thing. It was just kind of like this breath of fresh air as far as like, the really hard hitting hip hop went. It had one of my favorite characteristics of a hip hop album, which is like the reason why I love people like Notorious B.I.G. It's the storytelling thing, man. That's really what it is. It's so much of like that day in the life, and it was bringing Compton back on. Dr. Dre was a major influence contributor to this album. He featured on the record. He produced the album. And it was backed by Interscope Records and what was the other one?
Top Dog Entertainment.
Top Dog Entertainment. Thank you. Great features. Drake was on this. Mary J. Blige was on a track. I mean, it goes on and on. Just incredible. as far as a lyricist goes, he was just next level. It was like, there's a reason why people were like, oh, Kendrick Lamar came and saved hip hop, and I really do believe that to a certain extent. You had different people branching out doing different things, like like Luke said, you had the Frank Ocean Channel Orange came out that year, and you had a bunch of other stuff going on.
Odd Future.
But this is for me, this is it. This is right up there with Ready to Die, and right up there with All Eyes on Me's and the 36 Chambers and all of that stuff. This to me, like Jeff said, it's a masterpiece. This is a masterclass in hip hop, 100%.
Very, very much agree. This record is sitting somewhere in the basement, though I could not find it to put it on the shelf. So I don't know if you took it back or if it's lost in the walls here.
Oh, I don't think that's mine. I think that's your copy, Alex.
Did you take it back? Okay,
Yeah,
good. I was hoping it wasn't lost in the walls. So
The walls swallowed it up.
yeah, I was like, oh man, did this room eat another record? So I am going to pick a record that I bought, I think, when the year it came out at Target on a physical release, and then bought it a year later on vinyl. This is Alabama Shakes, Boys and Girls.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This record, I bought it because Target used to have that little indie section in their CDs, and sometimes I would buy stuff I didn't know because it looked cool. This is a record I blind bought that year. It was pushed as a cool indie underground thing. It was on the ATO label that came out, which is also I think My Morning Jacket's label at that time. So it was pushed pretty heavily. This is a soul revival-y record with a lot of rock and roll mixed in there. Front woman Brittany Howard, I think, is the only person that's really of mention in this band that is the driving force and power. This record hit a ton of bricks with me. It really brought me into another world of music. It has that throwback feel to it, but it also has a lot of that modern approach to it that doesn't make it sound like maybe a Daptone record, which is kind of a stylistically throwback 60s, 70s soul feel. This is interwoven with a lot of punkiness and gritty, dirty southern rock approaches, and I fucking love this record. I love every song in this record.
What's Brittany Howard's other band? Is that Thunder?
Oh, Thunder Bitch is
Thunder
another
Bitch?
project that was released in between this and the second
Yeah,
Alabama
so
Shakes record.
if you like Brittany Howard and what she does at Alabama Shakes, I highly recommend that Thunder
And
Bitch
also
album,
her
'cause that's
solo
great.
stuff now.
Yes.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
still plays with the bass player. I can never remember his name. Excellent bass player.
Yes, the bass player is the only holdover from Alabama Shakes. Yes, this record really...
What's the big song that was
Hold On.
Oh, yeah.
Hold On.
They played on SNL and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, if I'm naming songs on here, Rise to the Sun is a song I absolutely love on here. Hang Loose. What else? Heartbreaker on here. Be Mine. Be Mine especially. I love that. Down.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that I had that ripped to a cassette because I had a car that had a cassette player in it. And I remember listening to that on the ripped cassette in my car.
So it did sound like a Daptone record.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But no, Luke's right though, because there was a lot of bands around that time that were kind of these throwback type bands and stuff. You had bands I don't know, the Sheepdogs and
Nathaniel
Rateliff and the Night Sweats and all those kinds of bands that were kind of these
Lumineers.
shoutbacks and stuff. Yeah, Lumineers and stuff like that. That's a great record. That is a phenomenal record. And they're I mean,
I think it still holds
Yeah.
its ground. I'll go back and listen to that, and when the second record did come out, I was an upset fan. I was like, oh my God, they didn't do the throwback country thing again, and I did not like that second record when it came out.
yeah, but you came around to it though.
Because it's one of the best records I've ever heard. It's such a fucking great record, but it took time because the stink of the country
The
throwback
rawness, yeah.
rawness I loved of this isn't on that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't detract from how good both of those records are. So check out where Brittany Howard got the start. That was a phenomenal
Debut,
record.
Yeah.
Great.
Excellent.
Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, well, there you have it. The year 2012, brought to you by Get in the Garage.
Any more throwaways?
What
real
did
fast?
Linkin Park do in 2012?
Any more albums that
do
came
we
out
know?
that you love?
I can Google search Linkin Park 2012.
Oh, I don't know. I just want to shout out.
I don't know. And he's like, please stop talking about Linkin Park.
Stop talking about Linkin Park. Do you guys have any other album shout outs?
No,
honorable
sir.
mentions.
Fiona Apple and Frank Ocean. Excellent. Check it out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out Bob Dylan's Tempest. Was into that when it came out. Duquesne Whistle. Check it out. Beach Boys. That's Why God Made the Radio. I bought that when it came out. Paul McCartney's cover album, Kisses on the Bottom. These are albums I literally bought that
These
year.
albums come out in 1972 or
I
2012?
bought those albums when they came out that year. Also, shout out to
man.
another record I think is still a great record in the genre. Joyce Maynard's All These Things I Will Still Grow Tired. It is such a great emo record and pop punky record. So check that out. It's one of their earlier records, and it's really good. I bought that when that came out as well.
I do have 2 now that I'm looking at the list, or 3 now that I'm looking at the list. RAP, rap music from Killer Mike. That's the one with that song Reagan, which is pretty intense to listen to. I love Killer Mike, though. He's awesome. Run the Jewels. Great. Tame Impala's Lonerism came out that year. It's not for everybody, but, it's for some. And that song Elephant, right? That's the one that's on there. I do really, really like that song. And in my opinion, Jack White's last best album, Blunderbuss.
Okay.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, like that one.
One in the genre you were mentioning, Luke, Joyce Manor, Modern Baseball released.
Oh,
or is it
yes.
Sports.
Yo, that was
Tears
a huge...
Over Beers.
That was a huge record that year for the emo underground.
Yeah, that was a huge
good
one.
shout out.
Yeah.
Modern Baseball.
Yep.
What a time, man. You're bringing me back. That was 2012 in a nutshell in that musical world. Those kids loved that band.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to think of the other one. Never mind. Here we
That's
go.
all right. Did we miss anything? Let us know. Tell us, what's your favorite album of the year 2012? Were you alive then? I'm actually. Well, yeah, they should have been. This is
Did live? Were you
My
8?
guy.
This is a 13-plus audience.
sorry.
What
I'm
are you, a
sorry,
10-year-old?
sorry,
Get
sorry.
out of here,
Yeah.
kid.
Anyway, let us know. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with our new album review.
Enjoy
Don't
the
go anywhere.
simulation.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Get in the Garage.
We're the music podcast.
For music lovers.
It is time for our new album review. This week, Luke, would you like to tell us what we listened to?
Yes, I would. We have the new studio album by the Gorillaz, which is the project from Damien Albarn and Jamie Hewlett. I wanted to get that correct. And this is their new studio album. It is called Cracker Island. It is full of, it has some features in it. I know they've been a feature-heavy band, but the gang is back. Cartoon characters in full. We have 2D, Murdoch, Noodle, and Russell on the drums. So the fake real band is back at it again, and features on this album include Thundercat, Stevie Nicks. We have Bad Bunny on here, and Beck, a collaborator before, has come back again. And this is the new album, Cracker Island. I thought it was an interesting record. And what did you guys think?
10 tracks, 37 minutes, good length of album, as we discuss time and time again. We think the 37 to 44 minute is kind of like the sweet spot for albums. I enjoyed the sound of this record. It was produced by Damon Albarn, by Greg Kurstin, who is known for his work with Adele, with Sia, with Kelly Clarkson, with Pink. He is like one of the big pop producers of the past decade, won Producer of the Year, Grammys multiple times. And also Remy Kabaka Jr., I believe that's his name, is the live drummer for Gorillaz. He produced the Bad Bunny track and a couple other ones. I liked this as like kind of the Gorillaz thing, which is like chilled out hip-hop kind of music made by rock kind of dudes. Fun fact, Damon Albarn is older now than like Elton John was in the mid-90s. When we think about like,
Wow.
Damon Albarn's 55 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not realize this.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That is.
But he's like a perpetual 25-year-old.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like he basically looks like mid-90s Elton John trying to be in mid-90s Beastie Boys. Like that's that's how he operates. Like kind of like, I'm just like the cool old guy who, with my gold teeth put in and
Just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, wearing orange sunglasses and stuff. He's a cool cat, and he's still vocally like doing the Damon Albarn cool thing, which is like, very laid back and casual and droll and like too cool for school, but in like a fun way. And
and I would also like to note that the art of the Gorillaz has been progressing as well, which is something I really took note of on this record. They have all aged. Like Jeff said, like He is 55 years old. The Gorillaz have aged. Like Noodle, the guitar player, was drawn as a young girl, about like 13 or 11 when the first album came out in 1999. Now she's like age 30 years old, which is interesting. All of them have bags in their eyes and like some receding hair. So I thought that was like an interesting take on like where they are in age as well. They made the band age.
Yeah, I like the record. I mean, as far as to say that I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a huge Gorillaz fan per se, in the way that I'm not really somebody who has like tracked the albums very much. You know, I know the hits. I know, it's a couple extra tracks maybe off of the first record, a couple extra tracks off of Demon Days, right? That record. This record, there it is. Yeah, this record, I thought it was all right. In comparison to the first album and Demon Days, those being the ones that I have the most reference to, I would say it is the weakest of the three, in my personal opinion. If I'm picking nits, I did feel like it was a little bit one-note-ish in some points. I also felt like maybe some of that sort of like dark, kind of brutishy, sort of like fringy feel that you got with those two other records. We didn't get that as much, I felt. I mean, lyrically speaking, there was definitely some doom and gloom in the lyrics interwoven in there. But as for just the instrumental sound of the album, I felt like there was more levity, a little bit more, like a little bit happier, brighter, sort of sounding songs, not as much minor key stuff. I thought the features were cool. I liked the Thundercat feature. I thought the Bad Bunny feature was all right. I didn't love the Stevie Nicks feature, but also I'm not a huge fan of Stevie Nicks' voice as a whole anyway. I mean, Rumors is great and all that stuff, but on here, I felt like it didn't really connect as much for me. I like the Tame Impala feature, though. I thought that song was cool.
I love Kevin Parker. The Tame Impala feature was a little bit of like a hat on a hat for me, because this album sounded like heavily influenced by the last two Tame Impala records, right? Which is very like chilled out synth beds and kind of like not dance music, but like nod your head music.
Yes, I felt that way about a lot of this record. For me, I'm a big Gorillaz fan. I'm gonna say I really like the Gorillaz. I like the whole thing. For me, they were like a band that would take the artists that they hadn't featured and kind of put them in a place where they hadn't been before, more of like a rock band setting that was doing at like some of the things that they did. And so it made a very interesting like chocolate and peanut butter a lot of the times, and formed kind of new sounds that you really hadn't heard at the time. I'm talking the first two records, Plastic Beach too as well, throw that in there. On this one, I felt like it was more of a reaction to what's been going on in pop music. Like Jeff said, like that was kind of a hat on a hat. Like I felt like that song New Gold featuring Tame Impala was more of like a Tame Impala song featuring the Gorillaz, which is, it is what it is on that. But I did on that song love the Booty Brown feature, which I thought brought a lot of life and energy into a record that I thought was missing some of that hip-hop stuff that the Gorillaz had done so well before. So I didn't love this record. I had some things of issue with it, and I felt the same way about Cracker Island. That, to me, Thundercat's such a great bass player and can come up with these like unique and original grooves and ideas, which I feel like the Gorillaz have, been before. And for me, this was like a modern-y dance song where Thundercat really wasn't used to all of, Thundercatness.
Oh, I liked that. Because I like his singing.
That track too, yeah.
Yeah, I like his singing. I don't even know if he played bass on that track. I think he only sang.
I think he does. I think at the very end you hear him just doing like...
Sure.
But it's very kind of buried in there. And I just wanted some more more personality inflected in there, because I kind of felt like a lot of the songs were more just like modern dancey songs, which wasn't bad, but I kind of wanted that weird Gorillaz shake-up flavor. I'm
not too familiar with Gorillaz beyond the self-titled Demon Days and Plastic Beach, which I think Plastic Beach was like 2009 or 2010.
I think it's 2010.
I haven't listened to their last decade plus of stuff, but I did like a lot of these tracks. I liked the song the tired Influencer, which is like super chilled out, like a sea of synths. Kind of like, to me, it's like the most emblematic of this album. Like, it's kind of what the rest of the album sounds like. I liked the song Silent Running, which featured Adeleye Omotayo on vocals, which is like, Adeleye is one of the singers in the Gorillaz live like backing choir. I thought that was like just an interesting track. I think that's kind of like the single off this album. I like the song Skinny Ape, which was this like minimal bleep bloopy synth bass thing, and then it like kind of exploded in the middle, and it got into this like really choppy, gated, like pushed, driving, like almost punky, dancey type of thing.
Yep.
I like the Bad Bunny feature, Tormenta, but like it kind of just felt like an interlude. It was like maybe a 2.5 minute song. But Bad Bunny, like I think what Bad Bunny does and how his vocals sound and the production style, I think fit well on this album, which was very light and kind of summery, and like it didn't have that undercoat of darkness that a lot of the early Gorillaz stuff has. So I liked more of this album than I disliked. Like really, it's kind of like great background music that you can key into if you want to. Because
that's how I felt. Too,
like there's 5 standout tracks, I think, and then there's 3 that are background, and maybe like 2 that are just like whatever. I don't know.
I felt a little more hard and disappointed with this record, where I was like, I really thought that I still think that the Gorillaz can really like bring in new eras of music and new sounds, and I just was looking for something else on here. I did like some of the stuff, like is that song called Tarantula?
Yeah, sure.
That song, it was great and hooky, had that good pop chorus. It reminded me a little bit sonically of Sweetest Pie by, oh my God, Megan Thee Stallion. So it kind of had like that kind of pop groove to it, but it's like slower. I really liked the love song to it. I thought that was kind of more on the groove. Did you guys like kind of, like you said, the album's theme is kind of like the Tired Influence theme? For me, this was my actual main dig with this record, was like the songs and the beats for me were interesting enough, but lyrically I thought this like cracked screen, like doomy computer is taking over our thoughts, and I felt like Radiohead maybe had done that idea to a much better and earlier before. And so for me to hear it on something like this, I'm like, that feels a little like not on point, or not where I want them to be. I feel like that's like a dated thought. Like we've all known that, and like we kind of have already talked about that musically. And I kind of wanted, and if you do feel that way, maybe like some rejoicing out of it, because it was kind of just like, here's the problem, and no like,
he's like a grandpa, man. He's so fucking old. Like,
I know.
This is not his, like, pop music ain't his. I mean, I thought the record was good, but like perspective and the voice of a generation, like this ain't his generation anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's most certainly not.
And I feel like maybe I just wanted something more like interesting and like the rock.
Sure,
pop.
interesting. I could have taken more interesting.
I could have used like some more guitars and some more bridges in there.
Sure.
But that's kind of that's how I felt about it. And this is coming from someone that I really do like this band. So it was just something I didn't love, but I found some pieces in there that I really did like that song Tarantula. I liked Baby Queen. I thought was cool.
Those are the 2 that I would skip. Those 2 songs are my skips.
Those are the ones I was more into, because it was more like a different kind of theme, and I could get into like more of like what they were like coming at on those kind of songs.
Did you like the closer, the duet with Beck? I thought it was.
I actually like that one. I like the
thought it was a
mariachi
good,
style thing at the
trumpet
end. Yeah.
And I think their
like that.
voices and like just the whole approach to it being a duet was like done really well as like the closing thing of an album.
Yeah, it's funny. This is kind of like a split record, I think, in terms of what we like and what we don't like. Because I wasn't like a huge fan of Silent Running. I thought that whistle was a rip.
Oh, I loved the whistle.
Oh,
but it was such a rip on what was that? What's that song?
Yes, Young Folks by Peter,
Bjorn,
Bjorn, and John.
John,
So when I listened to that, I was like, this sounds like that song Young Folks, and then they started whistling, and I was like, this sounds exactly like that song Young Folks.
Nobody was credited for the whistle too. I don't know who did the whistling.
Oh, I wonder who. I wonder who. Some huge name, someone. But I like Possession Island though. I know that's like but I loved Cracker Island. I thought I liked that song. That first song, I love that song. I really really like that song. Skinny Ape, like you had said too. It's because that slow to fast kind of thing.
I think a big thing too is like we talk about a lot on these new records. Like I'm not even gonna think about what these lyrics are for 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not what I think about when I listen to new stuff, really. And Luke dives into the words and stuff.
Yeah, so, like, I'm getting in there. I really, like, I want to, because, like, on the first listen, I was like, oh, this is, okay. But I kind of want to really get in there and see what the album's themed like and how it really is going to, I think, marinate over time. And so, for me, I just wanted, like, a more interesting theme and some beats that were a little less static. I felt like a lot of the beats on here were staticky and kind of turnaroundy. So
yeah, I liked that dark underbelly gritty thing that you got from the early
You're talking
stuff.
about being 30 years old.
Yeah.
That's what they're missing.
Yeah. I suppose that's what it is. I guess that's what it is. When I listened to this, I was like trying to think to him, like, what is my opinion of this record?
Well,
this is like cool dad music.
For a minute, I almost felt like I don't really have an opinion of this record. And I thought, like, that is kind of a bad thing. Like, I don't think that's because it's like look, man, I enjoy loving an album. I enjoy hating an album. But having a non-opinion about an album is a red flag for me because I'm like, oh, well, then
be
what
bad,
is it?
don't be boring.
Right, that's what I mean. And there were moments where I kind of felt myself kind of being bored. But, you said it too, and I had the thought as well where I'm like, well, this is okay background music. Like, if you're kind of hanging out, in the summertime and you're having a fire and everyone's just kind of hanging out and vibing and having a good time, this is a record that you can put on and everybody will be like, oh, this is a pleasant thing to have on in the background, And we say this all the time. Background music is not a dig. That is not a dig as far as, when we talk about if an album is a background music style album or not. I don't feel like this is, I feel like this is, but like, for example, if you put on the early stuff and like Clint Eastwood comes on, everyone's like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Or like that's, and to me, I don't know that any of the songs on this record, however many years from now, are going to be where one of the songs come on and everyone goes, oh shit, this is that Thundercat cut. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh yeah, this is a cool song. Thundercat was on this.
No
track. This
songs
cool.
by 55-year-old guys are ever hit songs.
Yeah,
it's
I
never
suppose.
been done.
I want this band.
Has it never been done?
It's never been done.
Elton John. How old? Oh, you said Elton John wasn't even that old in the 90s. I was going to say he was.
Elton John was almost a decade younger than Damon Albarn is today. Like
in the 90s.
Yeah, when he did the Lion King songs, he was like 46, and Damon Albarn is about to be 55 years old.
Oh yeah, huh?
Well,
there you go.
Here's the thing: if
time moves strange in the internet days,
it does. If it is an age thing, I would like to know what he sounds like, what his classic album is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because he's already done the turn from Blur to Gorillaz, and that was a complete 180 switch up for the most part. And I think it's capable of a third act. I think it is.
I think we should also listen to those albums that we missed in the middle.
Oh, I've listened
to those.
I've listened
Humans
to them.
And
they're okay.
Like
they're not my favorite thing. Also, listen to The Fall, which was the first iPad album that was like ever majorly released. And again, it's just been kind of like a little bit of a slow decline for me from this 2000s
Hit us with your
period.
rankings. Hit us with a rating here.
All right, here we go. I might disappoint some people. Tell me what you think, guys. This is my honest opinion. I got a 5 on this one. 5. There's some stuff that's pretty okay on here, but I think it's a lot of middling.
A big 5. I'm gonna agree with Pitchfork. I'm gonna call this a 6.5.
Okay.
We'll call it 6.5.
And hey, Damon Albarn, just like you, I am an old man. This is a 7.5 for me.
Okay.
There you have it. There you have it.
Varied opinions.
A range of ratings. I definitely would say though, give this album a listen. Tell us what you think.
And if you
I don't think it's terrible.
Disagree with the things I've said, I'm open to criticism. Why do you love it? Why is this a great record? Please tell me.
Shut the fuck up. You do not know anything about gorillas or apes or music.
Tell me about it, guys.
Moving on, we're going to talk about our favorite Album animal band names. Animal band names. Animal band names. Gorillaz, I think, is an excellent animal band name with the Z on the end. And it's Gorillaz, not the Gorillaz. Classic. I'm going to kick it off. My favorite animal band name, Mastodon.
Love it.
It's so good.
It's like an archaeological ancient thing for a metal band.
Great. Prog
It fits
metal
the music
kings.
perfectly. Yeah.
Very good.
I'm going to go with Rat.
Oh, with two T's.
With 2 T's. All caps, baby.
Rat and
I'm
roll.
going to go with Rat. Rat and roll. I love Rat.
Oh my god, terrible. I'm gonna go with spelt the Birds, BYRDS,
Oh, sure.
the
Yeah.
classic. Rest in peace, David Crosby.
Alex, do you have any
Bros.
opinions? You want to throw anything in?
I didn't pick one for this, but I'm looking at a list of a lot of these.
All right, throw one in.
There's a lot of good ones. This is actually really tough. I'd probably go Arctic Monkeys.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
A fictional thing that
Like
does not
it.
exist.
Yes.
And I think is actually like a derogatory racial term. But
Is it really?
Oh.
yeah,
I
for
thought-
people from Northern England.
Whoa.
Oh, yikes.
It
I
is
thought
what
it was a reference to the Yeti, maybe.
I don't know. My next pick, the band is not called Spanish Panther. They are called Pantera, which is Spanish for panther, which is an excellent band name.
I do love Pantera. So good. There's also a car called the Pantera
Oh,
as well.
nice.
Check it out. It's a great car. I'm gonna go with. Ooh, I have like a long list, so I'm kind of
Yeah,
like.
just throw it.
But I gotta give it where it's due, man. 3 Dog Night.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to 3
Three
Dog
Dog
Night,
Night.
baby.
Shout out.
Let's get it.
All right, I'm gonna do heavy hitter here. The Beatles.
Oh, classic.
Here we go. Should we go classic round table?
I mean,
Sure. Alex, you have any others you want to throw in?
Lamb of God.
Oh, Agnus Dei itself. Another band name. It's a misspelling. The classic Def Leppard.
Oh,
Oh.
so good.
Def Leppard. I'm gonna kind of like ride on Luke's there. I'm gonna go with the Monkeys, also misspelled.
Oh, 2 E's, yes.
but I'll go with the Monkeys.
Okay.
Okay.
Classic.
All right, I'm gonna take it even further back here. We got Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
Oh yes.
Alex.
Get another one.
There's a lot. I really should have prepared for this. I didn't think about this one.
What you got? Keep rolling. Say
Dead
anyone.
air. Dead air.
White Lion.
White Lion.
Oh,
White
White
Lion.
Lion.
Got it. 80s. A lot of 80s ones.
I'm gonna go with another ancient animal, a band name that I think fits the music perfectly. T-Rex.
Oh yes.
Like
Formerly
classic.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Classic.
Classic. I'm not gonna go with a band. I'm gonna go with a man.
Oh man.
Seal.
Oh, it didn't even cross my mind.
Seal. You can't fucking
Oh, that's so good.
Come on, man.
So
Okay.
good.
Here we go.
Is it not an animal?
Yeah,
Come
it
on,
is.
let's go.
do it. Here we go. The Flamingos.
Oh, classic. One of my favorite songs of all time.
God.
Only have eyes for you.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
Oh, Alex, throw us another one out there.
Steppenwolf.
Oh.
Oh, okay. We'll count it.
Wolf's in there.
I love this band name. I think it comes from like a nursery rhyme thing. I like the alliteration. Counting Crows.
Oh yeah.
I think it's an excellent band name.
Yeah, Counting Crows. It's misspelt again, but one of Jeff's favorite bands, Fish.
Oh.
Oh, my favorite.
Favorite band of all time.
Okay, we're gonna go for one that my sister used to rock back in the day. The female metal group Kitty.
Oh, yeah.
Kitty. Oh man.
I'm surprised it hasn't been mentioned yet, but Papa Roach.
Oh, that's my next one.
I'm surprised it hasn't been mentioned yet.
Come on, it's a dad that's a roach.
Papa Roach, same era, great band name.
Let's
or is
go.
it a terrible band name? Bloodhound Gang.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for my next pick, Alien Ant Farm.
Oh my god.
Such bad band names.
Luke, you got more?
Oh, I had one and it just slipped out of my brain. You guys made me laugh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's gone. It'll come back. Alex, you got another one?
Beastie Boys.
Oh, what was it? I had
Oh,
Beast.
that's a
stretch.
giant
That's a
asterisk.
stretch.
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys.
This band name, another alliterative band name, Modest Mouse.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
the modest mice. I'm gonna go with another insect, and I'm gonna go back to the '80s. I'm gonna hit you with wasp.
I thought you were going to do that. I hate that band.
I can't even. You guys
Oh,
make me laugh.
Was Hornet taken,
That's
or
terrible.
what about
Terrible.
bee?
Terrible.
Oh my god.
Let's keep it going. Jeff, you got more?
Oh, I got
Alex, you
many.
I got one.
Yeah.
Horse girl.
Horse girl.
Podium.
Girl.
Did nobody
Pony
mention the men themselves, the animals?
Oh,
Say.
the animals.
Great
Yes.
band name. This is a band, 70s kind of like funk band, very primal music. Mandrill.
Oh, mandrill.
Right?
I remember when I bought that record. I bought a Mandrill record.
Mandrill is
Ask me if there's no
amazing.
mandrill on that shelf. It definitely is.
I'm gonna go back to the '70s as well. Known for their maybe unintentional advertisement for cigarettes, the band Camel.
Yeah, it was on my list.
Camel.
Prog rock, good music.
Yeah.
Dinosaur Jr.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yes.
One that Mikey showed me, them Crooked Vultures.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Josh Homme and
Big
Them
power group.
crooked vultures.
them Crooked Vultures.
A band that maybe you guys don't know, but a band that was like a big late 80s, early 90s power pop band. Excellent band. Made like 2 albums. Jellyfish.
Oh, I don't know.
The albums are, one is called Belly Button and one I think is called Spilt Milk. I'm telling you, yo, check it out. Jellyfish, great band.
I'm gonna go back to the insects and back to the '80s. A band known for their risque album covers, the Scorpions. Baby, let's go to Germany. Let's enjoy Scorpions.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's all I got. My brain's
That's all you
cooked
got.
on
I
it.
got a couple more.
I got a couple more.
Hit us with it, guys.
Let's go rapid fire, back and forth.
Singer-songwriter featured on either Shrek or Shrek 2 album, Eels.
Eagles. I like how it's like Shrek or Shrek 2.
I forget which.
I think it's Shrek 2.
Shrek 2.
We had the
my
Shrek 1
God.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
I don't remember that
It's
song.
good. Eels.
We can't forget the dogs, Snoop and Nate.
Oh, of course. Snoop. The Canine Brothers.
The Canine Brother.
Oh. Greek British band Foals.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Oh yeah, right. A
Right?
foal is yeah.
Yep.
No shit. That's right.
I think the leader of that band is a
yeah.
Greek man.
I don't think anybody mentioned it. Eagles.
Oh,
sure.
that was the one I
Comma
had in
the-
my head that I forgot. I was like
Eagles.
Eagles.
Eagles?
It left.
We mentioned them talking about Gorillaz, Tame Impala.
Yeah, Tame Impala. Iron Butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
Cat Mother, the band featuring Noel Redding of The Experience.
Cat
Oh,
Mother.
okay.
Is that a Wolf Mother spinoff?
I don't know.
Wolf Mother's another one.
It's not a very good record, I can tell you that.
Let's see what else.
Oh,
Cage the Elephant.
like
Which you
it.
should never do.
Bonzo Dog Blitz Band.
What?
What is that?
Bonzo Dog Blitz Band are the band that released the song Death Cab for Cutie that Death Cab for Cutie is named after.
Oh,
they are also the band that plays in the Magical Mystery Tour movie.
Whoa.
There you go.
Deep
Bonzo Dog Blitz Band.
cut. Deep cut.
Bonzo Dog Blitz Band.
Fleet Foxes.
Oh.
Fleet Foxes.
They're
Another
playing
alliterative band name.
Yeah, they are
Foxygen?
actually playing in New Haven nearby.
Stretch. Oh, yes. The last one I haven't named, a great band with like a big one-hit wonder, The Turtles.
Oh, imagine me and you.
Yeah.
Yes. Round mine off. I think this is my last one. Les Claypool's Fearless Flying Frog Brigade.
Yeah.
So there you have it, folks.
Classic.
If we missed any,
So
write them in the
good.
comments below. Yeah, like and comment and subscribe. Tell all your friends. Tell a cat owner, as Luke suggested at the beginning of the episode. This has been Get in the Garage. We will see you next time, guys. Keep it real.